Welcome to the heart of Radiant Empathy, a narrative game born from real ND-NT relationship experience. Radiant Empathy is more than a game. It's an emotional world offering symbolic tools for navigating difference and building connection. This is the heart of Radiant Empathy, not just one hero, but a constellation. Captain Kim leads with discernment, not domination. Phoebe protects, Echo listens, Bianca reflects, Janet guides, and number one builds the emotional architecture. Each member brings a different way of being and healing into the journey. Together they model the truth. You were never meant to do this alone. Many journeys begin after being lost and confused. Then a memory surfaces, and there's a little glimmer of light and hope, and you make a choice to follow that light. At first, the player follows Captain Kim's golden compass rose, steady, luminous, and true. Like Lady Liberty's torch, it lights the path in dark times, guiding those who are lost. But Captain Kim's compass is not handed down like a weapon or a reward. It's a symbol of earned clarity, wisdom gained through pain, through presence, through co-play. As the journey unfolds, the player begins to sense another compass emerging, not from Captain Kim, not from any leader, but from within. Captain Kim is the emotional center of the ship. She doesn't control the journey, she orients it. She carries the radiant empathy compass not as a weapon, but as a guide. Her strength is quiet clarity. In the scene, You're With Me, she claims the player not with force, but with certainty. She's not the hero. She's the hearth, a mighty woman whose light helps others see their way forward. Phoebe Irene. Phoebe is the crew's warrior empath, armored in fire and fatigue. She's the shield. She's the one who always carries everyone's weight until she can't. Her scene takes place on a cliff in a raging storm. At first she's braced against the wind, refusing to let go, but something changes when the player arrives, not because they fix her, but because they see her. The moment of healing is not a triumphant charge, it's a breath, a release. This unlocks the cycle of restraint, which lets the player rest when they're overwhelmed. Phoebe invites the player to drop the armor and ask, "Who carries me?" And that's a question Radiant Empathy wants you to wrestle with. To learn more about how Phoebe answers the question, request the in-depth slide deck. Number one, the engineer of empathy. Number one is not just a systems analyst. He's the soul of the ship's logic. He's modeled after Richard, and his character embodies what it means to reach for connection even when emotional wiring feels misaligned. You notice he's both skeptical and loyal, cerebral and kind. His journey is proof that you don't need to be emotionally fluent to practice empathy. You only need intention and tools. He's the architect behind Empathy Triad Engaged, and his mantra is simple. He says, you have to touch your heart to fix the machine. Number one offers neurodiverse players a way in, not by assuming fluency, but by showing how practice leads to progress. In the game, he helps you repair core systems, emotional and relational and mechanical, but only after you co-regulated and listened. When you partner with him, he'll challenge you to trust logic and feeling. That's his bridge. Bianca Marin is the emotional poet of the crew, gentle, observant, and often overlooked in moments of urgency, but make no mistake, her presence is one of the most transformative forces in Radiant Empathy. At age 38, she holds the paradox of childlike wonder and mature insight. Her voice is quiet, but her words resonate. Bianca's signature space is the paper garden, where fragments of memory and feeling float like petals or torn pages. It's here that players encounter the emotional practice of folding, taking complex inner states and reshaping them into something beautiful, even when unresolved. There's no perfect ending in Bianca's world, only beautiful phrases that carry truth. She's styled in honor of Mandan tradition with beads and ribbons woven into her hair like story threads. Bianca doesn't tell you what to feel. She gives you permission to feel it. Bianca teaches one of the central mechanics, nonlinear emotional processing. She reminds us that healing is not always sequential, it's symbolic, poetic, and personal. Bianca says, some emotions aren't meant to be solved, only sung. Echo represents the voice lost too early and the slow, sacred work of calling it back. Once vibrant, joyful, and fully expressed, she has faded into a near whisper, exiled by trauma, dismissal, or sheer exhaustion. But she's not gone. Her presence is still felt, woven into the emotional undercurrent of the crew. Echo gives no quests. She gives presence, and it's in that quiet, unforced companionship that transformation happens. She teaches that being with someone is often the highest form of empathy. Janet is our editor, not just of text, but of emotion, of narrative, of memory. She's 65, grounded and sharp. Her long red hair and colorful clothes hint at the wildness still in her. You'll often find her riding a horse across memory trails, but when the player needs her, she's there, glasses on a cord, ready at her desk. Janet's superpower isn't fixing you, it's reframing, helping you see your story differently. In her key scene, Between the Lines, she invites the player to rewrite emotional scripts that have inherited or internalized family roles, false narratives, stuck loops. She's not sentimental, but she's never unkind. Janet's gameplay mechanic introduces the Script Lab, a journal-like feature that lets players reflect on scenes, revise their emotional interpretation, and rewrite what can still be changed. She models step 6 of the protocol, use workarounds or adapt. If you can't erase the past, you can edit how it lives inside of you. For players who've grown up believing they had to get everything right the first time, Janet is a healing force. This is the mother, but not in a mythic, untouchable way. She's the kind of presence who meets you exactly where you are. Sometimes that means warm arms, cinnamon toast, or tucking you in next to Kokomo. Other times it means setting a boundary with a twinkle in her eye. She's not perfect, she's real. She might show up in an apron or a power suit, but she always shows up. When the player enters a moment of overwhelm or failure, the mother's presence doesn't offer answers. She offers you back to yourself. Her role isn't to fix, it's to remind that you are loved, that you matter, and that you're never too much. She reflects what we all need sometimes, a safe laugh, a warm voice, and the grace to rest, even when the world expects you to keep going. Her signature line is, I see you, I hear you, I love you. Kokomo and 7 of 9, these two simply are. While every character in the game has an arc, a transformation, a choice, these two simply are. Kokomo, my dear sweet dog, leads through instinct. He reminds all of us that connection starts with trust and movement. 7 of 9 arrived through a call, hers and mine, and has stayed ever since. They appear in the game not as plot devices, but as emotional ground. They know when you need comfort or courage. Their presence offers the player permission to pause, to feel, and to remember who they are beneath the story. This is Danny, the steady heart, the inspiration behind one of Radiant Empathy's most important emotional arcs. He's a real person, a neighbor, and a man who lives with Down syndrome. A few weeks after surviving a traumatic car crash that ended here between two trees, I call Zena and Gabrielle, Danny came over to help me clear river rock from my ditch. He didn't know the politics, he didn't ask why, he just helped. That moment brought my inner compass into sharp focus. Radiant empathy was already in development, but standing beside Danny, under the tree that saved his life, I realized the game wasn't just about storytelling, it was about choosing authorship. This is what the Compass Beyond looks like in real life. Danny appears during transitions, especially when the player is uncertain or ready to cross. Jameson Jet, the star cluster of becoming. Jameson Jet, a dreamlike presence in the game who shifts subtly in age, form, and memory. Jameson Jet doesn't speak in facts, he speaks in feelings. He's part inner child, part memory, part hope. His key scene is called the Heart Line. The player enters a cradle of stars and is invited to write a message to someone they've lost, someone they may never reach again. It's not dramatic, it's tender. It's grief without collapse, and it's healing through witnessed vulnerability. Jameson Jet represents the part of us that remembers what mattered, even when we forgot why. His emotional role is wonder and memory. His symbolic tie is to step 4, be brave. Because bravery doesn't always look like battle. Sometimes it's just telling the truth to yourself. The next 2 slides represent the darker side of finding your way to the Compass Beyond. Although you are not all alone on this journey, players will have to face their deepest fears in order to embrace radiant empathy. The Dissembler is charm incarnate, polished, smiling, always reasonable. But behind his eyes is something dangerous, the slow erasure of self. His scene, the Mirror Corridor, is not a fight. It's a test of memory and voice. Players walk past hundreds of reflections, and none look quite right. The Dissembler speaks in aphorisms and reassurance. He doesn't attack, he undermines. He makes you question your own truth. The player must navigate this space by reclaiming their inner compass, refusing to reflect someone else's story back as their own. The emotional challenge is discernment, a core skill in NeuroDivergent relationships, learning to walk away from false promises cloaked in care. Shadows don't just hide the truth, they twist it. Whether summoned by H.H. the Dissembler or born from past wounds, these whispers unseat your trust in yourself. This slide reminds players that gaslighting isn't always loud. Sometimes it floats like smoke, too thin to grab but heavy enough to weigh you down. Players will learn to protect themselves from gaslighting phrases like these. You're imagining things. You're too sensitive. No one else has a problem with this. Don't be so dramatic. You always make everything about you. You're remembering it all wrong. That never happened. Why are you bringing this up now? Meet the maker, not the creator. A co-creator like you. I'm here, taking back my life in the story with you. This isn't just a bio slide. It's an invitation. This game didn't come from a place of certainty or authority. It came from lived experience, being human. I forget things. I get overwhelmed, frustrated, and lost sometimes. But I've also practiced reclaiming joy, presence, and radiant empathy again and again. I'm not outside the story. I'm in it. I'm in this game not just as its creator, but as a character who believes deeply in your capacity to find your way too. Join the crew. We're not just building a game, we're building a crew. If you're a developer, artist, funder, or collaborator, and you believe empathy belongs in games, reach out. Let's build something beautiful together.